Hi, everybody. It's Friday with Sandy. We've got a very interesting candidate here named Michael. Michael, just say hi to the folks. Let them know what you look like.
Hello,
Yeah. How are you, Michael? Where are you right now?
I'm doing great. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida right now, working from home.
Okay, good. I hope there's no hurricanes on the horizon. Michael is an interesting story. He went to the University of Pittsburgh, where he had a 3.45 in finance. That put him in the top third. Then he hit the bingo bell with a 750 GMAT. So the powerful stats for Michael are 3.45, University of Pittsburgh, 750 GMAT. And for the past 2 years, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been working for the Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. In there, he's a kind of one of these operations guys. He's an operations analyst. It's all back end stuff. It's the kind of thing where you don't meet too many customers face to face, right?
Right, no customers.
No customers. We like that. Good. Michael, do people that you've known at your time at Merrill Lynch, do they apply to business school?
Not in my department. It's very not often. Usually they take a Series 7 FINRA test, but higher education there.
The Series 7 says to become what?
For investment and security operations, just to know the business better, I suppose.
That's a job requirement for advancement, I take it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, so that's a certification, but somehow you're interested in going to business school. How come?
I want a career change. That is why I want to go to business school.
Yikes! Well, you're in a pretty good career now. What job? This is an important question. You should be able to answer this. Two questions. What job do you want after business school?
I want to be a management consultant.
Okay, and name someone whose job you'd want in 30 years at the culmination of your career. Who's a role model for you?
Elon Musk.
Well, he's not a management consultant the last time I looked. So tell me what you want to do after how do you plan to get from being a galley slave at McKinsey, BCG, or Bain to becoming Elon Musk? What are the milestones?
Well, I spoke to a lot of folks in the startup association inside of NYU Stern, and they've always said, I asked them, how often do people graduate and immediately start working in startups, even if they're interested? And they say it's very rare. It's usually people take a few years inside of consulting to get more work experience, connections before they get back to doing startups. Good.
Okay, they gave you good advice. You know what Sandy's rules for success are in life?
What?
You don't have to. This is for success in everything. Sit still, eat crap, spit it back. Okay, so that's something consulting will teach you. It'll teach you to sit still. It'll teach you to eat a lot of stuff, and it'll teach you to spit it back in a nice way. So it's perfect training. Good. And then, so your plan is to work for a, high power, McKinsey, BCG, Bain, et cetera. And then how are you going to hustle your way out of there?
That would be a bit more complicated. I think, first of all, I would want to see if I could get more projects on the more innovative sides, like instead of analytical, maybe work for startups, consulting. And while I'm in there, make more connections and also have connections inside of NYU Stern with the Startup Association people to see if I could end up in New York.
Well, that's a good plan. Let me tell you something. You've got a tough road for one reason, okay? Your entire resume is very powerful, but it's all as an operations guy. Right now you're a senior operations guy, and then you worked at an outfit called Signature Consultants. What did you do there?
I was a tax reporting contractor,
Which meant what?
which meant I spent 60-hour weeks adjusting people's cost basis. Usually tax reporting contractors are supposed to be just data entry, but after a while I worked in there and did well. They taught me very complicated math stuff for corporate actions and versus purchase and hedge collapses.
Okay, that even though you had some client contact there through your diligence and outstanding performance, on your resume, it says financial analyst, tax reporting. What was your first job after college?
It was Fidelity National Information Systems as a rotational program trainee.
Okay, back up. This is real important. Say that with some emphasis. My first job after college was with Fidelity National Information Systems, which is a wholly owned prestige little sailboat run by Fidelity Investments. You get it? You don't have to be that fancy. What's
I'm
the
not sure if
accurate version of that?
So I'm not sure if they are actually owned by Fidelity, but their abbreviation is FIS, Fidelity National Information Systems. They are a Fortune 500 fintech company that specializes in producing enterprise software for large companies.
Okay, I take it back. They're probably not owned by Fidelity. I got, a little confused by the name. But let's say you're having your interview at your target schools, and the guy says, what's this financial Fidelity National Information Systems, and what did you do there since that was your first job out of college? So see if you can answer those questions.
They are a Fortune 500 enterprise resource management tech company, and they specialize in creating and maintaining that kind of software for large corporations like BlackRock and such. So let
me give you some tough love here.
Yeah.
You got to sound more conversational. You're sounding a little robotic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
And better you hear it from me than you don't hear it from your interviewer, and they just ding you. Okay. Robotic is the kiss of death. Conversational is what you want. So you and everybody else who gets interviewed, you got to keep it conversational. So let's try that again. Hey, what's this Fidelity National Information System?
So Fidelity National Information Systems is a fintech company that makes enterprise resource software for other large corporations. And I was there as a rotational.
Well, to explain that to the liberal arts major sitting next to you.
Oh, yeah. So they basically make the interface for like your company treasury or for your salespeople to register new clients and stuff like that.
That sounds like that's something that you can buy from Microsoft.
That sounds, the biggest competitor to the company is actually Excel. A lot of companies would just rather use Excel.
I believe that, but you didn't describe it that way. That's what I'm driving at. Your explanation, okay, on the good side, your explanation was very simple and easy to understand, okay? On the bad side, it was so easy to understand, it was generic. You didn't really help me understand what it actually does. You get it? You get it?
Yeah. Okay. So Fidelity National Information Systems is the enterprise resource management software that combines, advanced corporate security and scalability.
If they're asking you to explain that to the liberal arts guy sitting next to you, it's over. Right?
Yeah.
If there's some conversational way, you could go, yeah, they make, you know what they do? They make software that allows business to business users to enter stuff on more complex software systems. Is that accurate?
Yeah, by the gist, yes.
Or, well, an accurate version that sounds like that.
Okay, yeah.
Here's some homework, man. Go through every line on your resume and be able to describe what you do in that kind of conversational way. The way people screw up an interview is never the follow-up questions. It's the first question. Once they understand what you're doing, then they say, well, how does that work? How's it doing? Those things are easy. It's describing it from scratch that's hard. So you got Chicago Mercantile Exchange. You were a summer intern there. What did you do there?
I worked in the project team for IT, and they were going through a data migration project, and they needed interns to test out client reports to make sure that nothing's going wrong. I was the first intern in, and there were some 20,000 pages of reports every day to match.
Yeah,
and
okay.
There were...
Look, I don't want to break your nuts, but it's important. You're
Mhm.
sounding like you hate it, sounding like you hate being interviewed, sound like you hate your job, sound like you're not excited to be here. And more to the point, what I may have just said may or may not be true. Let me tell you something that is true. You sound like someone I don't want to sit next to, okay? That is true. My
Okay.
opinion.
Yeah, all right.
You get the
Okay.
point
Well,
here?
yeah. So I interned at Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and they were going through a data migration project. So they needed interns to go through their client reports to test out and to make sure that everything was going well. So, yeah.
All right. Boy, that sounds like a lot of work. How'd you like that?
I enjoyed the problem-solving aspects of it. There were too many reports to check just manually. So the key part of my job was to come up with macros and stuff to efficiently compare reports and move those reports to, online active client-facing. I also liked that I got to train 4 other interns and represent them in the project meetings every day, and move reports to production and to work
You're
with
getting there.
technical.
I would still try and be a little more lively.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the job. It had 2 things I really liked. One was technical, but I really liked it. I figured out some way to make a complex reporting system simple, and that was an accomplishment that gave me great satisfaction. And the second thing was, since I was there 2 weeks before 4 more internships, that gave me 2 weeks seniority, and they made me the mentor of the other interns, which turned out to be, I like doing that. I like the 4 interns, and we all helped each other. So it turned out to be a pretty good first job, or a pretty good summer job, whatever it was. Okay, so then let's take it over again. Tell me, what was your first job out of college, and why?
So after college, I found my first job with Fidelity National Information Systems. They are a fintech company that produces business-to-business software for other corporations, so people can enter stuff into their systems. I was in there for a rotational training program, and I worked there for 4 months, but the job that was ended at the end of the program was not what I liked.
So you worked there for 4 months. When did you start looking for a job?
After the end of the 4 months.
And is there a gap here? Did you find it immediately?
No, it was very hard after those 4 months because I was in Jacksonville, and I tried to get out of Jacksonville, but the distance and my lack of full-time work experience made it really hard.
So I'm looking at your resume.
Mhm.
You left in September 2018, and your next job was March 2019.
Yes, 6 months over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
What happened there? Why didn't you just stick it out? Why didn't you just look for a job and stick out the crappy job at Fidelity National? We like people
Well,
who can sit. Let me say what we like. We like people who can sit still, eat crap, and I forget what the third thing is, but It sounds like that's not you.
That wasn't me back then out of college, but that 6 months really honed my patience and resilience. But then again, I think back to it, and I think I would have done the same thing if I were to go through again, because Fidelity, it was, it was misled me in the interview process in that we had a bunch of choices
No,
as
you
we
can
were
never
going
say
through the
that.
rotation. Oh,
You can
okay,
never
don't
say
say
that.
that.
Yeah, you never say
Oh,
that.
okay.
You could say the job wasn't what I was doing wasn't what they advertised,
Okay,
and I really disliked it.
yeah.
Or
So I didn't stick it out with Fidelity because the job wasn't what I thought it would be. Uh, what was available to me at the end of the 4 months training there was a on the phone tech support team where you are tech support for salespeople for other corporations, and you have a whole backlog. I at the time I didn't think about what would happen next, that it would be so hard to get another job after leaving the company. But those 6 months really made me learn. But they also honed my resilience. I feel like it's a unique experience.
what do you mean by resilience? You were unemployed. That doesn't take resilience. It just takes not committing suicide.
Not committing suicide can be resilience too. I mean,
Look, I don't mean to
I've
joke about it, but you get my point.
right.
Resilience isn't what you learned. What you learned was I learned how hard it is to look for a job and have 400 people say no in various ways.
Yes, and I learned the value of distance. It's so hard to get a company to interview you if they have to fly you out there. And that's why I'm looking for schools inside of New York, because that's where I want to work. That'd be a major factor.
That's a digression. Don't get into that.
Oh, okay, sure.
Don't get into either
Uh,
part of that.
I learned about,
I
I
mean,
learned
saying that one of the
patience.
things I learned by being unemployed for 4 months is how hard it is to get a company to fly you out there. That's not something business schools are
Doesn't,
interested in.
hmm,
It's
yeah.
also it's also that depends on the economy and the kind of company. Uh, there are major companies, if they really want you, they'll fly you there, man. Believe me. And they'll put you in a 5-star hotel and they'll treat you right. Okay. Uh, okay, so tell me what you're doing now and how you like it.
Right now, I am a senior operations analyst with Bank of America Merrill Lynch. What we do is we do the day-to-day, cash reporting, management of the fund to make sure that everything's going right. And we also handle a lot of audits and stuff. I really like it when things go wrong in the job. When things break and when things need to be fixed, that's what I like. Every day it's a very stable and non-eventful job otherwise.
If our beloved leader, John Byrne, were here, I would say, John, what do you think of that answer? And John would say, I think you have to stress the positives more, okay, even though you're leaving it to go to business school. You go,
Mm.
it's a job with some things that I really like, one of which is there's a lot of financial reporting, which sounds boring, but a lot of things go wrong. So what it really is fighting fires caused by, bad software or bad data application. You
Mhm.
get the difference?
Yes, I get it. Stress the
Whatever
positives.
the accurate version of what I just said is, you got to put it that way. I like the job. It's dense, it's busy. You get stuff is coming in, it's important, and things are always breaking down. Software systems are breaking down, reporting systems are breaking down. So it's really a firefighting job in a technical environment, and I really like that. That sounds pretty good, right?
That sounds good.
Good. I think we went through this. So just quickly, give me your, where you're going to work after business school, and then what's your second job, and what's your home run?
After business school?
Yeah.
Okay. During business school, I hope to get an internship with one of the big three management consulting companies, but I'd also be happy to work for any of the second tier management consulting companies and get a job with them after business school.
Okay, the word, there's a word. I'd like to work for a leading management consulting company. Leading, okay?
Leading.
Yeah, most people know that is the big three, but sometimes, Deloitte considers itself a leading consulting, the consulting part of Deloitte, thinks they're as good as BCG. So don't get, and you never know who's interviewing you. Might be
Right.
a Deloitte alum or something. So I'd like to work for a leading consulting company. And if possible, I realize you're not a chooser here. After going through a rotation program, what would you like to do at the consulting company?
I want to be a consultant.
But what substantive matters do you want to work on as an on-ramp to your real goals?
I want to work in projects that focus on startups and innovation and change management, hopefully. And my end goal is to work in the startup field.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know the answer to this, but you might do some research. It might say, tell me consulting companies that are known for working with startups.
The big three all have stuff working with startups as well. I think most of them actually.
Yeah, what you should be able to give a better answer than that. You go, I've actually, spent some time on their website. McKinsey has a whole department that works with startups, and they were major players in A, B, and C. And BCG works in technical. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You give yourself a little hours back, do a little homework for an hour on that.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, you should enjoy it. I mean, you should know it anyway.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I understand you were the co-editor-in-chief of the Pitt Business Review. What was your takeaway from that about being the editor-in-chief of something?
I really enjoyed trying to foster a club culture when there was none to begin with. So when I inherited the club, it was a dying student publication, and we tried to build it up from ground up. And I started off as a writer for the Pitt Business Review, and I noticed like the main thing that holds us back from having more writers is how stringent the requirements were. You have to submit an article by this time. This week it's your turn. Even if you don't have an idea, you have to have an idea. So I revamped those requirements to make it so students with their busy schedules can
Okay, let me make this clear. If you go to law school, working on the law review is a real plus. Okay, that is, everybody understands it. It's usually done by grades. There's a possibility you could, if you don't qualify by having the top 8% of grades, you can often write your way on. Is the prestige of business reviews similar or not?
It wasn't, but we ended up making it more prestigious by having it actually sponsored by University Honors College and having a physical publication every single year.
Okay, look, I give you credit for that, and that's a good answer. Just between me and you and the people watching, do you think employers really cared about that?
I feel like writing is something that's sorely missing in modern day business.
No, I don't want some philosophical explanation. I want an answer based on your experience with employers.
Yes, every internship I've had asked me about the articles, and there are some managers with BAE, he actually read one of the articles I wrote on there and he liked it.
You see, that's a great answer, buddy. There's a time and a place to talk about your own experience. The question I asked was a entryway for your own experience. It was, were employers impressed?
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
So the answer is, well, the employers I spoke to were, they mentioned it. Just saying here. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. You're a totally solid guy with a lot going for you. I think do you have any questions for me?
For you personally? Yes. So when they talk about those 6-month unemployment, I should be saying, I should, the way I thought about it was, I feel like there are less people who failed as much throughout their first few year careers as I have applying to the MBA. And I feel like it did make me more resilient in that I can pick myself up, because it was devastating. It was very devastating to be unemployed, and it really like hurt my ego and built it up from ground up again.
Yeah, those are better answers than the ones you gave. It was a devastating experience. It was ego crushing. It gave me empathy for people who were unemployed. And looking back, I'm proud of the fact that I had the energy to keep trying and to have a lot of people say no. That's the answer, or your own version of it, which is okay too.
Thank you.
Let's close this up with me telling you what your chances are. I think the 750 is going to buy you a lot. I think you should get into, and I think your chances of being admitted to NYU are good. I think Columbia will fall in love with the 750 and the fact that you're in operation. I think being in operations, which is unusual for business schools, is a plus. I think every business school is going to go, we'd like this guy in a case discussion class because he can address the operations part of the case. Okay. Even if that never happens, that's a kind of fantasy that admissions officers tell themselves. So you're the beneficiary of the fantasy.
Awesome.
So I think with the right man, I think your chances at NYU, getting into NYU, are good. I think your chances of getting into Columbia are like 35%. And if you wag your tail, if you got lucky and you really executed, you may have a chance, because they really go for big GMAT scores, and you got one. Okay. So that's your story, Michael, and I'm sticking with it. Good talking to you, and thanks for being a good sport through this waterboarding process.
No, thank you so much. This was very helpful. I took a lot of notes.
Great. Okay. Have a good weekend.
You too.